Good morning, students. Welcome to the session of virtual classes of Oscar Public School. Children, today we will revise chapter number 3 and 4 of your supplementary reader, that is an alien handbook. So, everybody, open chapter number 3, the desert, given on page 15. First of all, tell me, children, what is a desert? Children, desert is generally without water and vegetation. Yes? So, children, summary of the desert chapter. The desert is a story that revolves around desert. Many people think that desert as a land of sand that has the problem of scarcity of animals and water. Children, all of us think that desert is a land of sand that has the problem of scarcity of land, scarcity of animal and water. Children, deserts are important habitats for many species. A desert is generally without vegetation and water. A desert may be too cold or too hot. Children, an oasis seems to be a green island in a desert. In a desert, oasis is a green island. Plants and animals of desert can survive on less water. However, many other animals and plants cannot survive in desert. The desert holds significant importance in the great plan of nature. They are not useless pieces of land on earth, as many people consider them to be. Desert appears beautiful with desert plants and flowers. Whenever it rains, the sight of desert can be quite rewarding. It can be quite rewarding, which is similar to that of any tropical garden. Children, many people hold the opinion that desert is nothing more than an endless stretch of land. People have this impression of desert that they are thin, dry, waterless, hot, and without shelter. So people hold a negative opinion about desert. Children, desert are beautiful place on earth. This chapter tells us that it is a beautiful places on earth. Desert are home to a variety of plants and animals. It is certainly a rare precious sight where desert bloom exists as rainfall that take place. Children, no difference exists between the desert and tropical land. Deserts are filled with hill or mountains, but not necessarily a flat land. An oasis is similar to a green land that one can find in the middle of desert. An oasis is like a green island in the middle of a desert where a spring or a well give plants and trees a better place. Children, desert may consist of green plants and trees. Such plants and trees certainly provide comfort and shelter. A desert is hot region, but it can be cold region like Ladakh. Sand dunes are mound comprising of heap of sand that tends to move and shift endlessly at the time of strong winds. A very few plants are able to survive on shifting mounds of desert. Living things the desert adapted are able to deal with scarcity of water. Such animals are able to survive because they require less water for survival. Children, most importantly, camel is a desert animal that is known as a ship of desert. This animal can survive without water for days. Camel drink plenty of water at one time. Camel also sweat very little and can bear high body temperature. What is the reason behind it? The bodies of camel are different from our bodies, children. Camel have to sweat to keep our body cool and maintain the appropriate temperature. Smaller desert animals hide in underground burrows. This allows them to escape the extreme desert temperature. Desert plants like cactus are able to store water in the thick stem. Such plants lack deep roots. They absorb rainwater because they are close to the surface. The moisture of the humid climate is missing in the desert. Due to lack of blanket, desert land heat up rapidly as well as cool off rapidly at night. Children, desert is certainly a gift of nature to everyone. Its importance is the same as that of some other gift, nature like forest or ocean. Children, we should consider desert as a blessing of nature. Children, it is a powerful message about the value of desert in this chapter. I hope you all have understood this chapter, children. Now let us discuss the question answers. All of you open page number 16. Comprehension check. From the first paragraph, pick out two phrases which describe the desert as most people will believe it is. Two phrases are, children: an endless stretch of land, endless stretch of sand, waterless and without shelter. Pick out two phrases which describe the desert as specialist sees it. Which do you think is an apt description and why? Children, the phrases which describes the desert as specialists see a beautiful place, the home of variety of people, animal and plant. Description 2 is habitat. It's appropriate as the site can be rewarding as that of any other tropical garden. Desert as a specialist, beautiful place, the home of variety of people, animal and plants. Now, second comprehension check given on page 19. Question number 1. A camel can do without water for days together. What is the reason given to in the text? Children, reason is that the camel sweats very little. It can therefore retain the water it drinks for a long period of time. How do the smaller desert animals fulfill their need of water? Children, the smaller desert animal spends the day in underground burrows to escape the heat. Some of them eat other animals and get water they need from the moisture in the water, in the meat of their animal. Others eat plants and get water they need from plant juices. Some of them eat other animals and get water from their moisture in the meat. Others eat plants and get the water they need from plant juices. Third question says, in the desert the temperature rises during the day and falls rapidly at night. Why? Children, in humid climates the air has moisture that protect the earth's surface from the heat of the sun. Since deserts have no moisture cover, they heat us rapidly during they heat up rapidly during the day and cool off rapidly at night. Desert have no moisture cover. They heat up rapidly during the day and cool off rapidly at night. Clear this chapter, children? Yes? Now let's do chapter number 4. The cop and the anthem. I will tell you the summary and we will discuss question answers. Children, the cop and the anthem is a humorous story. Soapy is a boy. He is a homeless, jobless man. He was looking in search of shelter in winters. Soapy became restless due to approaching winters. He wanted shelter in the Blackwell Island prison. First of all, it only came into the mind of Soapy. He tried to get arrested by the police for the winter season. Children, here cop is the police officer. So he wanted to get arrested by the police officer. His first plan was to eat at a good restaurant and refused to pay. As such, he came to a good restaurant, but the head waiter forced him to due to his torn shoes, that is, bad condition of his old shoes. Soapy then went to another restaurant and had no money, but his arrested was not there. He was not arrested. His other attempts also failed. Then, at last, his childhood thoughts made Soapy realize his mistake. Soapy then decided to live a life of dignity, but soon got arrested by the cop. That is, he got arrested by the policeman. Now, I will tell you how and what happened to Soapy. Okay? Soapy is a homeless, jobless man. Children, he was moving here and there and he was thinking when he was sitting in Madison Square. He was getting restless because of signs of approaching winter. These signs were the birds were moving to the south, trees shedded leaves, and men had a desire for a new warm clothes. These signals made him fearful of approaching winters. As such, he had a desire for shelter during the winter period. He came to choose Blackwell Island prison instead of other places like Southern Skies, Bays of Naples. He wanted the shelter in Blackwell Island prison. This very thought came into his mind that he should be prison. Soapy made so many attempts to get himself arrested. Children, his first plan was to eat at a restaurant and then say that he had no money. This thought was there that he will be sent into Blackwell prison for 3 months. With his plan in mind, Soapy came to the restaurant where only the wealthy people, rich people came every evening. But head of the waiter saw his bad condition of the shoes and forced him to out. His first attempt got failed. Then Soapy came to a second restaurant. After eating food there, Soapy said that he had no money to pay. The waiter then threw him out of instead of calling the cop. He had another idea to break a glass of window with a stone. Soapy stopped after seeing a policeman arrive there. Instead of arresting him, the policeman thought wrongdoers don't stand in front of the cop and say that he should be arrested. He said that why the criminal will be standing there if he had made a mistake. He will run off. Soapy made another attempt for his arrest. This time he began shouting like a drunk man in front of the theater. The cop thought that he was a college boy and hence left him. Soapy saw the umbrella of a man buying a newspaper. He then came to the decision of stealing it. He ran with that umbrella and the man kept following him. Soapy told him to call the cop who was standing at the corner. Children, the man refused to call the cop because he himself had stolen the umbrella. Soapy then gave up all hopes of getting arrested. Then he stopped at his old childhood home. Then a sudden change came in his soul. Soapy came after the decision of changing his life for the better purpose. He decided to fight the challenges of life. Soapy decided to find work for the very next day. And just then a cop came there and he asked Soapy that what he was doing there. Soapy then began to argue that with a new confidence, the cop took him and judge gave him 3-month prison sentenced on Blackwell's prison island. As now he wanted to become a good man, he wanted to change his life for the better purpose. He decided to find the challenges of his life, but the cop arrested him as he was arguing. Due to his new confidence, the cop took him and judge gave him 3 months prison sentence to Blackwell Island. So children, what is the conclusion? That is the moral, that cop and anthem tells us the wrong things we do. There are times when we can change and realize our wrongdoings and change our life, but it's too late. Now all of you open page number 29. Answer the following question. What are the some of the signs of approaching winters refer to the text? Children, the sign of the approaching winter are the movement of bright birds to warm themselves. So they fly to south, the woolen needed by the people and the dead leaves covering the ground with the sign of approaching winter. Write true or false against each of the following. Soapy did not want to go to prison. False. First chance he want to go for the 3 months. Soapy had been to prison several times. False. It was not possible for Soapy to survive in the city through the winter. True. Yes, it was not possible as he want warm clothes and a shelter to stay, to live. Soapy hated to answer questions of personal nature. True. What was Soapy's first plan? Why did not work? Children, he would go to eat at restaurant and would then tell them that he had no money. They would immediately call a cop who would arrest him, but as soon as he put his foot inside the restaurant, the waiter blocked his entry. Why he blocked, children? Because of his poor condition of his shoes. Thus his first plan did not work. Next question. But the cop's mind would not consider Soapy. What did the cop not consider and why? Children, the policeman did not believe that Soapy had broken the window glass. The reason was that no such criminal would stop and talk to the policeman. The policeman did not believe that Soapy had broken this window pane, the window glass, because why the person will do and stop there and talk to that policeman to get arrest him. That's why he didn't believe. He had ordered to let them shout. What does the policeman refer to? We have orders to let him shout. The policeman means to say that he had got orders not to arrest the shouting college students. He thought that he is a college student, that's why he is drunk and he is shouting. Write true or false against each of the following. Soapy stole a man's umbrella. True. The owner of the umbrella offered to give it to Soapy. True. The man had stolen the umbrella that was now Soapy's. True. Soapy threw away the umbrella. True. Last question. There was a sudden and wonderful change in his soul. What brought about this change in Soapy, children? Children, when Soapy came near his old home, that is his childhood home, he remembered his old days, his childhood life. He saw his worthless days, his wrong desires, his dead hopes, the lost power of his mind. This made sudden and wonderful change in his soul. His heart made this change. He decided to change his life. He would pull himself up out of the mud. He would make a man of himself. Again, he would find his old purpose in his life and follow it. So, this completes our chapter. You all should learn all question answers and read the chapter thoroughly. Children, test will be posted in the group. You all must complete your test and send me. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.